so balmy, doesn't it? Well, as we have been saying, this blistering weather can be dangerous, even deadly. Nationwide, 22 people have died from the extreme heat this week.
It's such a concern. We wanted to take a look at some of the life-threatening conditions that the heat can cause. You know, it's always a good reminder. Dr. Sapna Parikh outside our studios, and she is joined by an emergency medical technician from Roosevelt Hospital. Doctor.
Hi guys, yes, we have this giant ambulance parked outside our studios also. Our goal today is that none of you end up inside this thing, right?
Very true. Hopefully not.
Joining me here is EMT Kelmy Rodriquez from Roosevelt Hospital. Thank you so much for being here.
No problem, anytime. How are you doing today?
We're doing great, and you usually work the midnight shift, so
Usually
thank you
midnight
for coming.
shift. You're welcome.
On days like today, what do you see in terms of heat-related illness?
Well, what I see is a vast increase in core volume. I'm seeing a lot of dehydration, a lot of heat exhaust, heat cramps, actually even heat stroke, difficulty breathing. You're seeing a lot of increase in cardiac compromised conditions due to the hot and hazy humidity. And
in terms of where you get called to, what are some of the most common places? You know, I would think subway platforms, houses without air conditioning. What do you see where you get called to?
We've seen an increased spike is in parks, recreational settings. Train station is notorious. We see that very common. Even just walking down the street, you're seeing it. It's actually everywhere. It's going on everywhere.
And when we see patients in the emergency room, you know, they come in with the IV going already because you guys have taken care of them already. What do you do in terms of immediate treatment when you see someone with heat exhaustion on the street?
First thing we want to do is make sure they have an airway, because sometimes what happens is with this heat, they're going into respiratory distress. So first thing is primarily we want to make sure they have an airway, circulation. We're going to remove them from their hot environment into a controlled cool setting. From there, what we're going to do is we're going to do thermal management. We're going to look at ice packs behind the neck, under the armpits, the groin area, to bring the core temperature back to regular. Then we're going to start a line to get fluids going, because more than likely they're already dehydrated.
And when we talk about deaths from the heat, we talk about heat stroke, but there's heat exhaustion before that, which is when we want you to pay attention to some of those subtle changes. If you notice that somebody's lethargic, not feeling well, you're dizzy, a headache. When do you tell people, we'll wait for this car to go by, when should people call 911?
Well, we believe, honestly, the moment you do not feel right, you do not feel your norm, call. Don't waste time. Call. Timing is everything. So we prefer you to call immediately, right away. You know, once you start feeling lightheaded, blurred vision, cramping in the muscles, you start becoming forgetful, or if your family's there notice that you're becoming withdrawn, call 911 immediately.
And you said earlier that you often get calls for children at this time.
Pediatrics is one of our largest call volumes as well. Funny thing with pediatrics is that sometimes their status changes very quick, you know. You as a doctor know that, of course. We look for them being ultramental, not very withdrawn. Kids, you gotta remember, kids are delicate. So we want to keep them in shading, we want to keep them hydrated.
Got it. And really quick, what's the toughest place you've ever been called to for a heat-related illness?
Actually, the toughest place I've ever been called to has been a housing complex uptown in Harlem for elevator mechanic who actually started suffering from a heat stroke in the elevator shaft.
Inside the elevator shaft?
Yep.
Wow. EMT Kelmy Rodriquez from Roosevelt Hospital, thank you so much for being here. He's drinking his water. We're sweating out here while we're talking to you. Thank you for all you guys do every single day. And I'll see you guys back in about a half an hour. We'll be answering any of your questions related to heat safety. You can still send in your questions right now on 7online.com. Liz and David, I'm going to send it back to you in the air conditioning.
All right.
Really good advice. Great. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Stay with Eyewitness News. Coming up at 5, we're going to go searching for relief in the area beaches, but also we have a thermometer. We're going to be taking around to different locations. We're going to tell you just how hot those locations are, including down there in those subway platforms. And keep sending us your photos. Take a look at this one. We just show how you're beating the heat. Go to Eyewitness News, 7online.com, add it to our list.